Hey, good evening, everybody. Happy Sunday to you. And I'm getting on here kind of late tonight. I've been trying to get on, but it's been challenging. I was trying to move from my phone to my computer, but I guess the camera on my computer is not the best. So it'd be hard for me to make that transition. And I might just have to get like a webcam or something. I'm not sure yet. But anywho, I'm going to do 2 videos tonight. This is the first one. This is the video I'm going to talk about Ethan Crumbley. In my second video, I want to start looking at some of what we've kind of been seeing in the news with missing persons. And I'm going to take a look at what's happening in the state of Ohio. It's pretty serious, so I hope you guys are interested in that, as I am. So for my first video, let's get started. Back in 2021, right after Thanksgiving, people are celebrating the holidays. They're doing family traditions. In Michigan, it's going to be cold. So they may be preparing for the upcoming holidays and the new year. And 15-year-old Ethan Crumbley, he was living in Oxford with both his parents. They were married. And he was attending Oxford High School as a student. It appears from what the news have reported, he did have some issues. And I can go into that a little bit more, but I want to read to you what the internet is reporting about him in the mass shooting that happened at Oxford High School on November 30th, 2021. Now, I have linked news coverage on my page, but this is not what I'm going to be reading from. I kind of like the way the Wikipedia, the way that they kind of simplified things, so I want to read that. And then I have a video of one of the victims. He was not shot, but he was there when a fellow student was shot in the bathroom. So I want you to hear his experience and how he survived, because that's so important. We have to think of ways to get away. First option, if you can, get out, run. Put some distance between you and the scene. If you don't have to hide, and if you feel like you can safely get out and exit that space or that building or get away from that location, go in the opposite direction of where the trauma is or the violence or the scene is. Try to call 911, but make yourself, as quickly as possible, exit, get away. Seriously. Because if you hide, as we know, like what happened in Uvalde, Texas, at the elementary school, when you don't get out, or the police take a while to get there, or take a while to come into a hostile environment, if that shooter has intentions on finding you or finding victims, or in many cases trying to hurt, kill as many victims as they can, they'll look for you. They'll listen to where people may be hiding. They may search. So if you hide, if you get behind a door, under a table, in a closet, any space large enough for a person, unfortunately, you may not be successful getting out, because unfortunately, a lot of these mass shooters want the high numbers. So I have somebody watching. Hello. They want those high numbers, and they have found a way to successfully get weapons in buildings, get weapons in schools. A lot of schools don't have the resources to put a metal detector in that building, or they don't want to put a metal detector in the building. They feel maybe they're in a safe community or in the suburbs of a major city where they don't have a lot of crime. The problem with that thinking is some of the people that are committing the crimes, they don't necessarily, not necessarily prone to violence in a sense, but if they have a lot of free time, they can start getting into different acts that the parent may or may not know about, where you wouldn't think they would have to do something like this, because they don't live in a community where there's a lot of violence, a lot of crime, but somehow, some way, they will go and do a heinous act like a mass shooting. And this is kind of what Ethan did. He had a lot of time alone. His parents, they both worked, but they also did things outside of the home that didn't include him. So he had moments where he would be reaching out and telling them, when are you coming home? And, you know, I don't want to be here by myself, things like that. And again, in the past, I've encouraged parents to try to spend time with their kids, talk to their kids. And I know it's hard sometimes because you get tired, but you have to find things that they can do with you. If it's just, hey, come to the grocery store with me. Hey, let's go for a walk. Hey, let's sit and talk. You know, what's going on while you're driving them to school, when you're picking them up. If you're cooking dinner, have them, you know, cook dinner with you. If you're trying to do maybe some house chores or yard work, have them do it with you. Talk to them. Anything to see where their mindset is, to keep doing that check, to just figure out what's going on in their world, because their world is way different than our world, where they have access to so much. They have access to social media. So when they leave school, school doesn't necessarily end. The education part ends, but not the social part, because they leave from a building and they take that and they go home, but they're on their phones. They're on the phone. They're on these tablets, iPads, computers. So it doesn't end. It doesn't stop. And that's why we have to interject ourselves. And you can go back to doing things like board games. That can be fun. You can do some outdoor games. They don't always have to be like the Monopoly type of games. You can do toss games, ring games, tic-tac-toe outside, Jenga, just a lot of things to stay engaged. Some of the most fun things I did just with my family and the kids is doing things that we did together, like water balloon fight. I mean, that was like one of the funnest things. Outdoor camping, getting a hotel and going swimming, just time. It's really funny that the kids have so much more, but really what they need and what they want is our time, our attention, us listening to them, just things like that. So let's get started, and let's hear what they have to say about what happened, because I do want this part to be known. Also the part of the why. I don't think, sometimes it's kind of like, you know, we want to feel like, oh, it doesn't matter why. Well, it does matter why. And the reason it matters is because we want to look at crime not just being a response to crime, but we want to be proactive for prevention. So for safer neighborhoods, for systems in place on how to respond, things to look for, those red flags. I think in this case with Ethan Crumbley, he had a lot of them. And he also displayed them to his parents. When they go over, and I shared a video just about some of the text exchange between more so his mother and him, she was aware. Like he did a drawing, you know, with violence, and I shared that. You know, I want you guys to see that. Not saying that you're a child in particular, but I'm sure any educator, any teacher, anybody that's in a support role at a school, you can almost see the kids that have some difficulties, some troubles, some issues, and they stand out because of their behavior, how they respond. And sometimes you can see it when the parents come. Sometimes they are aware. They can give you a heads up that they may be experiencing these challenges, or they're going through this, or this is something that they're working on. But in the cases where we don't know, we don't see it, that's even harder, because most kids, before something happens, it leads up. In my opinion, I don't believe that Ethan Crumbley should have had any access to any type of handgun, let alone his family purchasing him a handgun at the age of 15. He wasn't ready. His behavior was inconsistent with giving him that much responsibility, in my opinion. That's something that a mature teenager could grow with the instruction, with the guidance of parents involved. For example, hunting. You can go with your parents, get a hunting license, and you take those steps, and you only use that weapon during that time. When you give someone that is not ready, you get things, thoughts, and it's already a lot of violence and a lot of things that they see in advertisements and video games, just so much in movies. So we just want to make sure that we're making a check before we take actions with our kids, so that they can handle something such as a bigger responsibility. It could be driving a car. It doesn't have to be anything like a handgun. It could be something that simple. You know, I know my daughter is not ready. We have to take more time, more lessons, more training. She's just not ready. But if I was to give her the keys to a car and allow that to happen, she could, you know, hurt somebody, or somebody could hurt her. So just things like that we have to think about. But let's go ahead and listen to what they have to say about the shooting, so we can get the details of what happened. Okay, let's go. On November 30th, 2021, a terrorist mass shooting occurred at Oxford High School in the Detroit suburb of Oxford Township, Michigan, United States. 15-year-old Ethan Crumbley, armed with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun, murdered 4 students and injured 7 people, including a teacher. Authorities arrested and charged Crumbley as an adult for 24 crimes, including murder and terrorism. Crumbley pleaded guilty to all of the charges in October of 2022. So instead of going to trial, he made the decision to plead guilty. Now, although it probably will never be released, Oxford High School, they had cameras installed. So I believe that parts of the shooting is on camera. Now, it would be pretty hard to create any kind of defense that's going to get him out of a conviction if he was to say, I want to go to trial. I want to sit down, and I have a right to testify if I choose, or I have a right to hear the prosecutor put on evidence to prove my guilt. And that would be in part, as I said, the cameras that caught the shooting live, the witnesses that survived, And the fact that the police, they immediately engaged and he surrendered. He had the weapon and he did not fight back, or I don't think he wanted to be harmed. So I think it was always his intention to surrender if the police came. And the reason I know that, let's see. I believe that he wrote a note, and I believe I shared it on here. So one of the things that he shared was a note. He had a journal. So a lot of Ethan's thoughts, he put in writing, like the drawing that he made at school, but he put a lot of his thoughts in writing. And one of the things, I'll kind of show you, and it's on there, it's on my page. For example, he made a list of things that he needed, that he was preparing to build up to the shooting. In this journal entry, he was talking about students that, you know, they didn't have any idea what his thoughts were and that he wanted to do the shooting. You can read that. In this one, he says, I will commit the shooting people until police breach the building. I will then surrender to them and plead guilty to life in prison. So there's preparation behind these thoughts. He's not haphazardly going in and not preparing how he wants the end to be. He didn't write, I'm willing to lose my life. His intention is to surrender because he doesn't want to be hurt. And on the odd side of it all, or the flip side of it all, he's going in with the intention of hurting the other students, but he doesn't want to be hurt. It just sound like this. So it's pretty damning. It's pretty sad. It really is. One of his other notes was, I want to shoot up the school so badly. Soon I'm going to buy a 9mm pistol. There was news reports that his mother had bought the 9mm as a gift to him. Totally inappropriate for a child, a young teenager that is not equipped with the skills to handle it. Just not a good idea at all. He had even put into his plans that he knew what day he was going to do the shooting on. He said, this is the last passage I will write. And he said it's currently, he put the date and the time, and exactly one day before the shooting. Sadly, a lot of the shooters, they plan it out and they prepare. So in their mind, just as if I was to go to the grocery store, I would make a list of things that I need. When I get there, I know how much money I have to spend because I have a budget, and I'm specifically just targeting those items for the most part that I need. Well, it's kind of seeming to be a pattern with a lot of the shooters. They're just not waking up one day like, I want to do a mass shooting. A lot of them are online. They're watching videos. They're in chat rooms. And some of them are even making preparations for a note. So if it doesn't go good in their shot, that they're leaving a note behind. In Ethan's case, the journals is kind of what he left behind if something was to happen. He also did a few pictures in school, and those were confiscated, but he wasn't trying to have them confiscated. Him and his mom had some conversation about that, and she told him, you need to learn how to do this better so I'm not getting contacted by the school. You're not in trouble, but you need to figure out how not to keep having these instances where they're catching you. And I think that's partly why the prosecutor for Oakland County, Michigan, why she decided to press some criminal charges against the parents for involuntary manslaughter. There was some discussion at the school the day of the shooting that Ethan needed to be taken out of the school by the parents that day. That morning, there was a meeting. And in the meeting, the mother, she refused to take him. They said that he needed to be in a therapy, seeking therapy within a certain time period, about 1 to 2 days. So the school felt that it was dangerous enough from the writings that they confiscated from him, that there was great concern that he could possibly do some harm to others. Because in those pictures, let me show you. I'd like to show you a picture of Ethan at the time of the shooting. So that's a picture of Ethan when he was 15 years old. These are his parents, his mom, Jennifer, his dad, James. And this is after they all were arrested. So his parents, once they put the charges out there, they were supposed to turn themselves in. And what they ended up doing and turn themselves in, they went to Detroit, Michigan and hid. They were trying to evade police and people. Okay, so I'm back. I'm sorry about that. My connection, I lost it. I'm gonna move on from what I was just talking about because it was like a lapse. I just want to move to the drawing that the teacher confiscated. He was, I know it's probably hard to see, but he was drawing things in school. This is a handgun. When the teacher saw him, this was not the first incident. Let me try to bring it close. I think you can see it there. Just check it out on my page. But my point is, when he was supposed to be doing his work, he was drawing violent pictures. And when the teacher started to come to see what he was doing, he started doing things like writing harmless acts. I love my life so much. OHS rocks. He was writing things to throw the teacher off, like we're all friends, things like that. But what he really wrote was the thoughts won't stop. He wrote that this was a video game because that was a ruse to get the teacher off his back, to say, oh, these are things that occur in a video game, the gun, things like that. So you shouldn't be concerned. But the teacher was concerned, and the teacher took him out of the classroom. And that's how his parents were called, for them to come in so they could have a meeting. And like I said, at the meeting, they refused to take Ethan home. And that early afternoon, that's when the shooting happened. So like it's really prevention, where we have to take accountability. The school can only do so much. So I wanted you guys to see that that drawing. The odd thing was, after Ethan was arrested, his attorneys, at the time he had 2 female attorneys, and there was some concerns about Ethan continuing his education. And I said, you know what? he was in school. He did the mass shooting. He wasn't concerned about his education. Not when he's taking time and drawing handguns and not focusing on the work, and the teacher have to keep stopping, and you're interrupting class, and you're drawing this violent stuff. You weren't thinking about school, but now that you're arrested, you're thinking about school. He even put in a request to go to the juvenile division of the jail. So they when they charged him as an adult, even though he was only 15, because of the acts being so heinous. And part of what he requested was he wanted to not be segregated. So they separated him from the adult prisoners because he was a minor. That was really to protect him from the adults because he was a minor. But he was charged as an adult. So they wanted to protect him, but also charge him appropriately for what his crime was, what his crimes were. So it was some things brought up that he really wanted to go and be with the juveniles. He wanted to go to school like them, and he felt that he should be able to interact and live with them while he was waiting for his case to move through the juvenile, the criminal system. And I'm thinking, listen, that's over. See, a lot of these young children, these teenagers, they're thinking about the act. They're thinking about, oh, I can be notorious, I can be remembered. They're not thinking, like in his mindset, I don't want to be shot, I don't want to be hurt, but I'm going to hurt people, right? But he's not thinking about what happens after. What's going to impact my life after I do this crime? What will happen to me now? You're not going back home. You're not ever going back to school. They're going to put you in a place to protect the public from you because you're a threat. You have become a threat. You can't live in society anymore. You don't get to be a kid anymore. You've sped up your life. And now this is all you have to look forward to is a future in prison, probably for life. Because I'll get to that part. I'll get there. Some people, they believe prisons rehabilitate. They have services. You can get a GED. You can learn a trade. But how valuable is that if you're 15 years old and you're going to face 24 counts, 24 criminal charges? Will you even ever be able to see the light of day outside of looking through some bars or a gate? 15 years old, that's a long time to be in prison. You're a lifer. And he even said at one point that he knew that the state of Michigan didn't have the death penalty, so he was okay in that note with getting the life in prison. I will surrender to them and plead guilty, life in prison. He had already checked the law. He had already knew the law. Because sometimes they want to say it's diminished capacity. Just as if I can do searches, they can do them too. He already knew he would be doing life in prison because there's no death penalty in the state of Michigan. And he knew that. And he counted on that. Because maybe if there was a death penalty, maybe he would have had a second thought. I don't know. You never know where the mindset of someone is. Would he have went out of state to a different state? Because sometimes it's proximity too. Crime happens where you are close. So the school was a very likely place you can go in. They're not searching you. The threat is not there. You're in a safe community. He hasn't experienced crime or trauma. He doesn't live in like a city like Chicago, for example. Oxford is not near Detroit, Michigan. No, he didn't experience crime. What he experienced really was access. With all of the technology, he had so much free time to develop all these thoughts. Go online, get into chats, talk to other people, talk to gamers. I remember a few months ago, there was a mass shooting at a grocery store, and the killer live streamed it to like the people he played video games with. And that was also racially targeted, so he did not shoot. He had no intention on shooting any white people. So how can you prepare for that if you're at the grocery store in your community where you live? If you live in a community that's primarily your race, why would you think that somebody that does not live in that community will come from their community, come into your community, and then commit a heinous act of a mass shooting? It's just some things you just don't know. You just can't prepare for. But in this case, I am going to talk about things that were done right. There was quick action by the police. And that timing, that saves lives. Just like what I'm saying about Uvalde, Texas, how all of those babies were massacred because they didn't go in immediately. And that should be something that's taught, that you want to go in immediately. Do not give that active shooter time to reload and reload and reload. And these assault rifles, some of those clips are 30, 40 pieces of ammunition can go in there. That's a lot of bullets. So that means the likelihood of survival is going to be low because they can just keep shooting and shooting. And in that case, those were elementary age kids. Very, very sad. So let's go back to continue to read the article. Okay, so where I left off, I talked about the handgun because his mother purchased that for him as a gift. And how we know that is she had shared something on social media saying, you know, this is his new gift. And he loves it. So we just want to make sure that we're buying things that's appropriate for our children's age, and also their attitude, their personality. You know, we want to keep things within their abilities, and maybe not even think about a purchase like that. You know, you're better off doing something like a gaming system, or maybe something else that they like to do that would, you know, be safe. So we're going to keep going. Authorities arrested and charged Crumbley as an adult for 24 crimes, including murder and terrorism. Crumbley pleaded guilty to all of the charges in October of 2022. So almost like right under 1 year, he pleaded guilty. Crumbley's parents, Jennifer and James Crumbley, were charged on December 3rd with involuntary manslaughter for failing to secure the handgun used in the shooting. Something that the prosecutor, she really worked hard to prove, was that the gun was initially purchased for Ethan. Not just that he had the access, but the intention was that it would be for him. It was his gun. But not only that, that involuntary manslaughter comes into play because of the decisions. So there's a pretty far back history of just incidents where he's by himself. He's asking for help. He's saying that he's hearing voices, that he wants to go to therapy just so many times. And like I said, on that last day, the day of the shooting, the school wanted the parents to take him immediately, and he could not return back to school until he started some therapy for what was going on with him. And because they refused and he stayed at school, the mass shooting happened not too long after that. So that's why the parents were charged, and they're still in the process. I believe that they were trying to get their charges dismissed, because it's not too often that prosecutors go after the parents, because in reality, you're not responsible for another person's actions, but your inability to act with the known facts. And that's why they're being charged with involuntary, because they didn't have anything to do with the shooting. That's where the involuntary part comes from. And the manslaughter is a lower level from first-degree murder. You have second-degree murder, first-degree murder, second-degree murder, and then manslaughter would be the lowest level. So that's why they were charged with that, and they're still going back and forth to court and trying to get the charges dismissed. I think it looks pretty bad on them, because when they tried to get away, they were trying to take their money and kind of go into hiding. And I believe they did not hire Ethan an attorney. I'm not sure, because it's been a while since a lot of information has come around about this case, about almost 2 years. So let me continue to read. After failing to appear for their arraignment, the parents were the subject of a manhunt by the U.S. Marshals. They were caught and arrested in Detroit, Michigan on December the 4th. Lawsuits were filed against the school district, Oxford Community Schools, starting on December 9th. They allege negligence by school officials towards warning signs exhibited by Crumbleys leading up to the shooting. I am going to pick up a little bit further down on this information from Wikipedia. According to students and parents, rumors regarding threats of a mass shooting occurring at the school were circulated before the incident occurred, prompting some students to stay home on the day of the shooting. Earlier that month, in response to an act of vandalism that included a severed deer head being thrown off the school roof and into the courtyard, school administrators published a note to parents saying they had been investigating the rumors but found no threat. Oakland County Sheriff Michael Bouchard said his office was not aware of any credible threats prior to the shooting. Now, I did hear that, and the rumor was that they were trying to keep any rumors about it being true and just squashing it, saying it was not true. To keep the idea that this community is a good community, is safe. But let's go on. Surveillance footage showed Ethan Crumbley entering a bathroom with a backpack and then exiting it about a minute later without the backpack, but with a semi-automatic handgun. Immediately afterwards, Crumbley started firing in the hallway at students during passing time when hundreds of students were transitioning from one class to another. So he waited. He waited till the hallways would be full in passing time when the classes are exchanging, because he knew it would be more people and he could hurt more people. And that's where the intent is. I mean, that's first-degree murder. That's planned, premeditated. Okay, let's keep going. When they started fleeing, he methodically and deliberately walked down the hallway and shot into classrooms and at students who were unable to escape until he went to another bathroom. Due to the quick response by students and staff to the gunshots, Crumbley was unable to enter any of the classrooms. Okay, teachers. All right. According to students, a voice over the intercom alerted them to an active shooter, and their teachers started locking and barricading doors and covering windows, convincing them it was not a drill. Others recounted hearing some loud banging noises before realizing the noises were gunshots and quickly locking the door. One student who hid in a bathroom stall recalled hearing the sound of a gun cocking outside the bathroom. Once the school was secured, he opened the bathroom door to find several bodies lying on the floor. I don't think I need to continue with any more details. I don't think it's gonna be of any real value. Let me just give the names of the victims. I don't always do that because I don't want to highlight any trauma for the families. But I shared a picture of them, so I will say the name of the victims. 3 students: Madison Baldwin, age 17, Tate Meyer, age 16, and Hannah St. Juliana, age 14, were killed at the scene, and 8 other people were injured, including a teacher. Meyer was reportedly shot while attempting to stop the gunman. He died in a police vehicle en route to the hospital. On December the 1st, a 4th student, 17-year-old Justin Schilling, died in the hospital from his injuries. At the time, the incident was the deadliest school shooting in the United States since the 2018 Santa Fe High School shooting. By the night of November 30th, 3 of the injured were in critical condition, with one of them on a ventilator. 1 was in serious condition, 3 were in stable condition, and the injured teacher was discharged after being treated for a grazed wound to the shoulder. The last of the injured was discharged on January 17, 2022, more than a month after the shooting. So, I want to share a short video, and it's important to get the public to have an understanding of the trauma that violence causes. In this case, you have a school, you have teachers, you have administrators, you have students, you have staff, you have security. But everything trickles down. It trickles down to your family, your friends, if you have siblings, other multiple kids in a school, and then you have the overall community. I'm going to play this video, understanding. Okay, I'm back. I want people to have an understanding of the trauma that violence causes, because sometimes you don't hear it if you don't see it, because some victims are protected, so they don't want to testify. They're that traumatized. They're sometimes still reliving the events. And then you have some people that suffer from survivor's guilt. How did I make it and this person didn't? Or if I'm seeing somebody shot and possibly killed, that's traumatic. So I want to play this video because it's very sensitive to have a better understanding, so that we all can take the time to be a little bit better. Even if it's just a small measure, we can learn a lot from hearing a victim. So that's what I want to do. I guess I have it on here, but I think I'm gonna put it on here so you can't see the victim, but you can hear. So and I posted this video so you can see it easily. Okay.
What did you do?
I stopped to use the bathroom.
Which bathroom? Right there?
That one right there.
Near door 6?
Yes.
Okay. And when you went into the bathroom, was there anything unusual going on in the hallways?
No.
What was going on in the hallways? Passing time?
Yes.
Okay. And when you got into the bathroom, what happened?
I was using the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
I heard shots.
All right. When you heard shots, what did that sound like?
Really loud.
Did you immediately think it was a gun?
No, I didn't believe it at first.
What did you think it was?
I didn't know what to think until I peeked out and saw people running.
So you actually opened the door and looked in the hallway?
Yes.
And you saw them running?
Yes.
Did you hear anybody, were they screaming, were they yelling, was anything going on?
Yeah, screaming and yelling.
Okay, and then what did you think?
That it was a gunshots.
Okay, so what did you think, Keegan?
I kind of went back into the bathroom in like shock, not wanting to believe it.
And Keegan, I don't know if I asked you this, but how old were you on that day?
15.
Okay. You went back into the bathroom. Was anyone else in the bathroom with you?
Yes.
And you now know that person was who?
Justin Chilling.
Okay. Did you know his name at the time?
No.
All right. Did you see him when you went into the bathroom?
No.
Did you see him when you looked out in the hall and came back?
When I came back in, he was outside the stall.
And what did he do?
He told me to come in the stall with him.
Okay. Justin's older than you, correct?
Yes.
Had you ever seen him before?
Yes.
Tell the court where you had seen him before.
When I was a freshman going into our day where they would show us around school.
So just 2 or 3 months before?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was one of the seniors that was showing the incoming freshmen around the school and helping guide them.
What do you remember about him?
I remember he sat with me and my friends in this group, and he was giving us Smarties and just laughing, positive.
Okay, so he was one of the seniors that was nice.
Yeah, and helping out.
Okay, but you didn't remember his name?
No.
All right. At the time, you were a few inches shorter, I think, correct?
Yes.
All right. And what's Justin's size?
He was a lot taller than me.
Okay. So he says, come into the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I'm going to show a picture of that bathroom, but I'm not going to show anything. There's no evidence of somebody being injured. We cropped it.
Okay.
Is that the bathroom?
Yes.
Okay. The record should reflect we've entered this photo, but it contained the spot where Justin was shot. So we cropped that out. Now, Keegan.
I'm sorry, before you move on, for the record, which exhibit number is this? 61.
61.
Thank you.
When you say he said come into the stall, which stall?
The larger handicap one.
Okay, so this one right there?
Yep.
Okay. And what did you do, Keegan?
I went in the stall.
Okay. What happened after that?
I squatted on the toilet.
Why did you do that?
So he couldn't see my feet.
Did Justin tell you to do that?
Yes.
Okay. So Justin told you to get on the toilet and just squat down so that your feet weren't visible under the stall.
Yes.
But what about, where did Justin stand?
The post to the left side of the door, where his feet were not showing, he stood behind that.
Okay. So was he facing you, or was his back to you when he was standing there?
I think his back, and he was facing toward the door
Okay.
for most of it.
Okay. And what did Justin say to you, if anything?
Nothing for a while. We were on our phones.
Okay. Did you hear anything at this point?
It went quiet
Okay.
for a while.
And Keegan, you just told me you were on your phone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that you were doing is texting your family, correct?
Yes.
And you have a group chat, correct?
Yes.
Okay. If you look up on the screen, is that your family group chat?
Yes.
Okay. And what is the group chat? What was it called then?
The fam.
The fam. Okay. All of the writing on the left in caps, that's you?
Yes.
Okay. Would you like me to read that, or would you want to read what you wrote?
You can.
Okay. So, okay, so at 12:52, the first text is help, and then gunshots, and then gun, and then I'm hiding in the bathroom, and then oh my God, and then help, and then mom. And by this time, this is all in that first minute, 12:52. Then they're right here. Thank you. Right outside the bathroom. So that's all in the first minute. What were you trying to do
Stay quiet.
with the text messages?
Oh, I was scared. Just trying to communicate to my family.
Okay. And when you said they're right here outside the bathroom, what did you mean?
I heard one single shot right outside the bathroom, extremely loud.
Okay. And what did you think?
I don't know I didn't know what to think of it. Just
Okay.
scared.
And at some point, your dad responds to you, still in the first minute. What does he say? He says, just stay down. We can't come to you, but just stay down, quiet and calm. This is now 12:53, and you write, I'm terrified.
Yeah.
At this point, was it just still you and Justin in the bathroom?
Yes.
Okay. At 12:53, Dad says that. Then you say, I'm terrified. At 12:53 again, you say, oh my God. Your dad says, stay down and calm. You're going to be fine. We love you. The next minute, 12:54, Dad says, you there? Anything happening? Has it stopped? Who is on this text thread? Your mom, your dad, and who else?
My two sisters.
How old were your two sisters on November 30th, 2021?
one was in 8th grade and one was in 7th.
Okay. So it's you, your 7th grade sister, your 8th grade sister, and your mom and your dad.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think my little brother on his iPad is in there too, but
Okay. But
yeah.
we hopefully safely can say he was not reading these text messages. Okay. At 12:54, you say someone in here. What were you talk to me about that?
We heard someone walk in.
Okay. Did you? What exactly did you hear?
The door open and footsteps.
Did it sound like one person or more than one person?
One.
Okay. Did you look out to see who it was?
No.
Okay. At 12:55, you say he's in the bathroom. You're talking about that person, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Your dad says, stay down and don't move or engage. We love you. And then at 12:56, you say, he saw us. What happened that made you text that?
He kicked the door and it swung open.
Okay. So at that moment, is that the first time you actually saw that individual?
Yes.
When you say he kicked the door in, how hard did he kick it?
Decent, not super hard, but
Okay. And what did he do when he kicked the door in?
stared at us.
Did he say anything?
I don't remember exactly.
Did you say anything?
I don't remember exactly.
Okay. Remember if Justin said anything?
I'm pretty sure we all stayed quiet.
Okay. And did he stay there with you, or did he eventually leave the stall?
He just stared for a second and then walked out.
So that individual that did that, had you ever seen him before?
No.
You didn't know who he was?
No.
Okay. You text your family, I'm with one other person. Did you mean Justin?
Yes.
He saw us, and we are just standing here. Are you texting that when he's still in the stall? Or
No.
after he leaves?
He walked out.
Okay. And then Dad responds, just stay calm. Is he gone? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Was that a yes?
Yeah, that's yes.
Thank you.
And you respond, no. He's standing here. I see the gun. Oh my God. When did you see the gun?
I first saw it when he kicked the door open.
And where was he holding?
On his side?
Okay. So he was holding it like this with his arm down?
Yes.
Okay. But you did see it?
Yes.
But he pointed at you?
No.
Okay. Dad says again, okay, stay calm. What bathroom? Where are you exactly? I'll call. That's at 12:59. Now, Keegan, the next time you text your family is 1:01. So by that time, by 12:59, we know you will have been in the bathroom for about 7 minutes. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. I know this is hard, but can you tell the court what happened from 12:59 to 1:01?
He came back in.
The shooter?
Yes.
Okay.
Told me to stay put and for Justin to come out of the stall with him.
I want to back up a bit. Was there a point where Justin was giving you any other directions?
Yes.
What was he saying to you?
This was before the shooter kicked open the stall. When we heard the shot close, he told me that when we hear them further away, we're gonna run. And he kind of mouthed it and signaled.
Okay. So that was his basically telling you how to escape.
Yes.
Okay. Did you say anything back to Justin?
I said okay. I kind of nodded my head.
Okay. And so after you heard the shooter come in, at some point, was Justin trying to understand if he was still there?
Yes.
When did that occur?
He, after he kicked open the door and he walked back out. And he was just in the bathroom.
And at this point, you can't see him, but you know he's still there?
Yes.
Okay. And what did Justin do?
He took out his phone camera and he held his phone down so that at an angle so that I could see if his feet were still there.
Okay, so there's the bathroom. You're crouching on the toilet.
Mm-hmm.
He's standing behind that partition. Where did he put his phone?
I think it was kind of to the left of the
Right,
pool. Yes.
right down there? Okay. And he put his camera on so that you could see the image that it was pointing at?
Yes.
And he said to you what?
He kind of mouthed, "Is he still there?"
What did you say?
I couldn't tell.
Okay, so what did he do?
He kind of bent his head over to see his feet, and then he mouthed to me that he's still there.
Okay. And then what happened?
We just stayed quiet.
How long was it?
I don't know exactly, but it felt like forever.
And at some point, the shooter came back into the stall, correct?
Yes.
Again, both times when you saw him, did he have a gun?
Yes.
Was he nervous? Did he seem nervous?
No.
Did he seem panicked?
No.
Did he seem emotional?
No.
Was he crying?
No.
Were you or Justin aggressive in any way?
No.
Were you trying to defend yourself?
No.
Did you ever put your hands on him?
No.
Did you ever lunge toward him?
No.
How would you describe his demeanor, what he seemed like?
Kind of blank, kind of cold.
Okay. He comes back in the stall, and what does he do again?
He told me to stay put and for Justin to come out with him.
And what did Justin do?
He went out with him.
Okay. Did the door close at that point?
No.
So the stall's open, the door, and you're still on the toilet crouching.
Yes.
Okay. And what happens next, Keegan?
It was quiet for a second, and then I heard a shot.
And what did that sound like?
It's extremely loud.
At this point, it was 2 or 3 feet away from you?
Yes.
Okay. Keegan, what did you think when that happened?
I kind of didn't know what to think. My mind wasn't really believing that it happened.
How long before you saw the shooter again?
I don't know exactly, but it wasn't long after that shot. He came back in.
After he told Justin to leave, did you hear Justin say anything?
I don't remember.
Okay. But Justin did as he asked.
Yes.
He didn't try to struggle or fight.
No.
Okay. At some point, he comes back into the stall.
Yes.
And what does he do?
He tells me to come out with him.
And how does he say it to you, or does he motion you?
I think he motioned. I don't remember exactly.
Keegan, at some point, you looked at the shooter and said, "Please."
Yes, I think so.
Okay. Do you remember when that was?
I think it was when me and Justin were just waiting in there.
He came in and you said, "Please."
Yes.
What did you mean?
I don't know. I was scared.
What did he do when he was in the stall? He motioned you out. And where was the gun?
On his side.
Okay. He's holding it down on his side?
Yes.
All right. And Keegan, what did you do after that?
I went out with him.
Okay. What did he tell you to do anything?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly. But to go over, he kind of signaled me to go over by Justin's body.
So let's talk about that. What did you see when you came out of the stall?
Justin's body in a pool of blood.
Was he laying face up or face down?
I don't remember exactly.
Okay. Do you remember where that blood was in relation to his body?
Around his head.
Okay. And the shooter tells you to do what?
Kind of signals me to go over by his body.
And what did you do?
When he moved the gun away from his side, kind of, I ran behind his back and out the door.
Okay. Why did you do that?
Because I think when I saw his body, I realized that if I stayed, I was going to die.
This is all happening between 12:59 and 1:01 when you finally texted your parents, correct?
Yes.
Okay. What did you do after you ran? What did you see when you got outside?
I recall seeing another body with someone bent over it.
And where was that on the map, if we can pull that up?
I think it was around a corner just outside of the courtyard, kind of over there.
Okay. Keegan, at some point, did you learn who that was?
Yes.
And who was it?
Tate.
And what did you do at this point?
I just kept running as fast as I could.
What were you trying to do?
Make as many turns as I could so that if he was chasing me, I'd lose him.
Okay. And you eventually ended up in the office?
Yes.
And did you see anybody?
Yes.
What did you see?
I ran and there was a officer with a gun who kind of guided me to go outside.
And did you do that?
Yes.
And how long were you outside, if you know?
Maybe a minute. It wasn't very long.
Okay. I want to go back to the text thread. So at 1:01, you texted, I just watched him kill someone. He put me up against the wall, and I ran. I made it to the office. And that's at 1:03, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay. Above that, is that Mom?
Yes.
Oh my God, Keegan, stay calm. Love you. Okay. Where were you at 1:03?
That was when I made it back to the office.
Okay, because somebody came out and got you, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
It's not easy.
I want to talk about.
It's not easy, y'all. That's why I wanted to share the video, because it kind of places you there where you can kind of see what they experience. And that's why I'm trying to explain in these videos the trauma that some people are walking away from with crime and violence. I think if we can take some positive things out of this, the school staff, they saved a lot of lives that day by locking those doors and preventing Ethan from traveling throughout the school. It's a big school, a lot of people. Also, I feel because law enforcement responded quickly and acted with manpower and force, that prevented him from taking more lives, because he was not going to stop. That was his intention, and he had planned it in his mind of what he was going to do. You know, from leaving the bathroom, for returning the bathroom, for making sure that he could target, as many students as he could, because he waited until they were passing in the hallway, to trying to go into the rooms, but they were locked. You know, all of his thoughts, as much as he did, to try to inflict as much harm as he could, the preparedness of the staff, the quickness of the students. I can't even imagine what it'd be like to be in that bathroom. And for the one student to try to shield him, to protect him, that's what I call a hero. That's what I see as bravery, something to look up to. And it's hard. I was just getting choked up. My eyes was filling with tears. And just hearing him recount what happened. Because every parent wants to protect their child. Nobody wants to get that news and to hear the actions. You can only be proud, but you're broken at the same time. So, I just want to end this video with just the acknowledgement of the 4 students that lost their lives. I'm going to show you a picture of them. I don't usually do this. Yeah, I'm going to just end it here. If you're able to press a heart or write hearts, that's just letting the family know that you care. And it also brings us together as a community as we continue to take one day at a time. You know, we so often hear about all these mass shootings across the United States. And you try to find ways to keep going on, to keep trusting that sending your child or children to school, they're going to make it back home. Times have really changed, and schools are a big target from other students. And it becomes very, very challenging, difficult for educators, for administrators to do that job, for security guards, for staff. So let's just have just a quiet moment of silence for the bravery, the actions of these 4 victims. And let's just show their family that we're thinking of them, we remember them, and we care. So we'll just have a quiet moment of silence now. Get that close there for them. You know, let's try every day to make it better, make the world better. And it starts with us and every little thing we can do. So I challenge you today. I want to thank you for coming and hanging in there with me as we go over these cases. And we find ways to do things better, and we learn, and we help each other, and we uplift each other, and we remember the victims, these 4 students. You know, life just cut too early for them, for their future, for their families. And let's just agree to do better, to do more, while we have the time and the ability. Again, thank you for checking out this video. And I'm gonna go and do the last one for today, which will be discussing the missing children in Ohio. Okay, thanks again. If you not watching the next one, have a good night. Stay blessed. Bye.